that song. Who sings that song? Do you know that song I'm talking about, William? And maybe
I do. It came out a long time ago, but I can't remember who it was.
Okay, it's okay. It could be before your time. It's okay. But anyway, folks, we are live. I have Mr. William Deck. I'm going to give people time to log in. I did go on a few minutes before just to announce you both on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But we're going to get people to log in here shortly, give them a few moments. Make sure that we're up and live, and we are, William. We are up and live. I'm checking my Facebook now, and I'm going to share you so that we can make sure we include as many of my amazing family out there as possible to join in this amazing conversation. Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. If you can hear me, I see we have some people tapping in. Please do just say yes, Cheryl. I can hear you. I hope all is well with you too. But please do tap in. And we are so excited to be here with you today. Do you believe that today is the 17th of June? Where does the time go? If you can hear me out there, please say, we can hear you, Cheryl. Please do. Please do. Let's see. Wait, I'm just going through sharing with a couple of my amazing network of people out there. And I do have an amazing network. Very grateful for that, and very grateful for you all for joining us. Yes. William Jackson, we can hear you. Thank you, William. I appreciate you. I appreciate you immensely. It's always good when people just shout back at you so that you know that, hey, this is working for us. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think we are about ready to go here. First and foremost, okay, we're going to put that down. I'm going to turn my volume down because it sometimes tends to get in the way. I want to say welcome, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody is doing fabulous. I am so excited today to bring to you Mr. William Deck. William, I will introduce him shortly. What's up, Alicia Duncan? Felicia, you are killing the game. Felicia is a real, and I swear to you, I must say, it's probably every day she's selling a house. Felicia has done it again. Felicia has done it again. I'm so proud of you, Felicia. You are amazing. Keep shining, queen. And we've also had Miss Felicia on this platform before. I'm going to be introducing William, but I just want to say, I just feel like it was last Thursday that I talked to you guys, but it always feels like, God, it was a long time ago. So I want to say thank you. You're blushing. You're funny, Felicia. You blush, darling, blush. Please do grab a friend. We're about to have an amazing conversation with this amazing gentleman that I'm about to introduce to you. I want to say to you again, happy Thursday. I want to say that no matter where you are, I hope that you are doing fabulous. I am so excited because today, it was signed into law that Juneteenth is official, you guys. That is so amazing.
I saw that.
It's going to be celebrated, right? I don't believe it solves any of our problems, but it's a step in the right direction. It's about acknowledgement and about just acknowledging of people, and that is so beautiful within itself. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that today, so I need you guys to chime in. This is not meant to be a monologue. This is meant to be a dialogue. I need you to join the conversation. I need you, wherever you are, tag a friend. This is about information sharing. And I'm telling you, we are at a very critical time in our lives that this is not the time to fall off. Matter of fact, we better fall forward together as fast and as quickly as we can. So please do grab a friend, grab somebody, invite them to this conversation because it's a worthy conversation and a needed conversation. I want to, for those of you who are new to my platform, I want to say welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And for those of you who have not, for those of you who are new, welcome. And for those who have been here, thank you for continuing to support me. This platform is really built because we're here to highlight both the journey and the success stories of professionals and entrepreneurs of color. We want to explore all the important and necessary information to help guide, inspire, and encourage all aspiring business owners and professionals of color. We plan to equip them with the specific concrete examples, tools, tips, and tricks to lead them toward their own success, not only in business, but in life. So the question begs, and it always begs, are you ready to get fit? What is fit, Cheryl? Fit is a mental state of mind. Fit stands for faith, intuition, and tenacity. And today we are here to help you get mentally fit. I don't know about you, but we are being pulled in 20 different directions. Information is being thrown at us constantly. It's important that we don't connect ourselves to information that's not feeding our best interest. It is important that we connect to information that's going to help us to grow, help us to become better and stronger, not only individually as a community. This platform I created because it didn't exist. It's a way for us to highlight those individuals that are out in the world making a social impact. And this gentleman is definitely one of those. Everybody I've had on my platform is making an impact. And it's very important for me that you get to see people of color that are out in the world doing great things. It's really important. And especially now with so much disinformation, it's more critical now than ever. So again, I hope you'll join in. Now I have the opportunity to introduce to you Mr. William Deck. And I want to say to you that William is the founder of MindBusiness. It's an LLC, a coaching and consulting firm focused on mindset transformation. His work is dedicated to helping businesses change their company culture by educating their team members on the principles of mind science as transformation happens one person at a time. He also coaches executive leaders how to effectively lead their organization through times of significant social, cultural change in our society. He believes that our lives change when we change. Wherever you are today, please join me in welcoming Mr. William Deck to the platform. Welcome, sir.
Appreciate that.
Welcome. I have I'm so excited to have you. Thank you, Georgia, for stopping by to say hi, to have cocktails with Oakland Raiders Test Butner. Keep inspiring, being an influencer in our community. Thank you, Georgia. I so appreciate you and your support. I really do. And I did see my fearless president out there today I'm currently the vice chair for the Oakland Chamber of Commerce, William. And today I saw my fearless leader out with our governor, and I just love seeing them out doing great things. But let's get back to the man of the hour. Let's get back to this gentleman we have in front of us. William, I always ask this question because it's an important one to me. And I want to know, William, what are you passionate about?
For me, I'm really passionate about helping people to see that they are more than they ever imagined. I think we've been taught and trained too many times, no matter what your background is, that we have limited potential, we have limited resources, and we ourselves are limited. But the reality is that there are unlimited resources, and we, as human beings, are unlimited in our potential. Now, in order to unlock that, you have to be able to see yourself in a different way. You have to be able to believe in what you can't see. And that's something that has to really be educated and trained on. And so because I went through many different challenges in my life, I learned that I had to make a study of success in order to move towards success. It was not going to happen because I was someone special or because my name was William Deck. It was because I focused my mind around the principles of success and really wanted to know the truth. And once I learned the truth set me free.
Oh my God, speaking of the truth, William, we are living in a time where it seems very popular by a lot of people to constantly uplift lies. I can't put it any other way, to glorify lying, to make lying the truth. And if you tell somebody something long enough, it will become their truth. Yeah. How do we counteract that? as individuals, especially with so much information being thrown at us?
Yeah, sure. I think that's really a great question, and that's really the core of my business. And so, for my business, Mind Business, what we really do is focus in on mindset transformation. And what that really means is that we help individuals within organizations as well as one-on-one coaching to really be able to understand the principles of how the mind works. Because everything in the universe operates off of law and principle, just like the principle of gravity, right? Or the law of gravity, and so many other things that we learned in school. They're also mental principles, specifically around the fact that we have two levels of consciousness. One is our conscious mind, or our waking consciousness, and also our subconscious mind, which is below the level of consciousness, but it directly impacts over 90% of all of our behaviors and waking actions each and every day. And so the reason why we can drive to a particular location, eat a donut, talk on the phone, and barely pay attention to the road and not wreck is because there is a deeper level of intelligence that allows us to be able to do these things. Of course, also that intelligence allows our heart to beat and different things that happen naturally within our body without having to consciously think about it. But when we understand that that deeper mind has been trained or coded in a certain way, that we have to understand that we also have an opportunity, if we want to make changes in our lives, we have to go in to that base level of code in our own minds and our consciousness and begin to change it. And really understand that we have the ability to change it. Most of us think that we are a victim of circumstances and that things are just the way that they are because, right? And there's really no good answer. But in actuality, we are absolutely the master of our fates and the captain of our souls. And once we wake up to that, then life gets to become really fun.
Oh my God. So, I had to put that. I might have mistyped there, you guys. We are not a victim of circumstance. So one of the things you said was so powerful, that we have the ability in our mind to reprogram our mind. And we really don't have to be a victim of anything unless we choose to. So by tapping into energy, and you and I had a conversation, which was so powerful the other night, that this kind of taps back into that, about what we're thinking about. And I think a lot of time, I don't think I know that we are creatures of habit, William, and we go back to routine ways. And now that the world's opened up, which is a beautiful thing, I feel like I've been let out of prison. It just is this most amazing feeling. But we have to be careful, William, not to fall back in the trap of doing things the same way, expecting different results. What kind of advice would you give to an individual so that we don't do that? What would you recommend for that?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, we have to become aware that there's a problem. And I don't use the word problem lightly because I always see problems actually as opportunities. But initially, that first jolt that we're going to receive usually is from a negative situation or circumstance that we perceive as a problem. But in actuality, it's an opportunity. And what that problem basically says is that I want more out of life. I want to do this. I want to become this. I want to overcome this. I want to get better at this. And I've been struggling with this for so long. Why can't I make changes? And so I think simply understanding that there is improvement that needs to be made. And then number two, as far as awareness, is becoming aware or knowledgeable on the fact that there's something that I can do about it. Because what I think most of us do not realize is that doing nothing is also a decision. Doing nothing is an action. You may not be going anywhere, but but there's a cause and effect. I do nothing, so I receive nothing, right? And so it's really important for people to become aware. And then, of course, from there, it's very important to be able to get good information that can give you the full picture. Because for me in my journey, I had a piece of the picture from the Bible. I had a piece of the picture from science and many different elements. Because as much as I laid on my faith in God, when I did not believe in myself, I was still faltering, and I didn't understand that it had to be not just faith in God or higher power or creator, but in myself as well. And when I began to truly believe in myself, that is when became willing and empowered enough to do the work that was necessary. So that awareness is the very beginning, but then you have to really get to know yourself, right? And become to know that you have, once again, unlimited potential. And so that is a very, very short summary of really what the process was like for me over roughly 5 to 7 years, because it wasn't just the fact that I actually initially just say, hey, there's these things I want to change and I'm unhappy with this. Like that was a constant. So that was already there. But the one question that I couldn't answer by reading so many books, reading the Bible cover to cover, so many other areas, I couldn't get the full answer. I got bits and pieces, but not the full answer, the how to, and how can I actually sustain this? And I realized what I had to change is the way that I saw myself and my life's potential. And when I began to see myself differently and believe in myself, that's when the significant change began to happen. Because I could look at myself in the mirror and I would tell myself that I was going to do something, or I could write it down in a goal and I would begin to follow through every single time. That showed me that I was believing in myself. And I think that many times is the barrier between where we are and where we want to be, is having that courage and that positive self-image, that courage to actually go out and take action and do something about it and be okay with doing it wrong. And once again, as I mentioned at the very beginning, to not label the things that we want to change as problems, because if you're planting seeds of problems in your own mind, you're going to reap more problems. You're going to perceive more problems, and everyone's an enemy and all these other kind of things. When in actuality, every situation is always an opportunity. It is always an opportunity, no matter what. Anything that is bad can be turned good. Anything that's been negative can be turned positive. And we all do that in our
Wow.
mind's eye.
Wow, William, you know what? You just said a mouthful. And for those of you, whether you listen now or later, that's just some powerful stuff. We are here talking about being fit, mentally fit, fit standing for faith, intuition, and tenacity. Faith is really the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. So you got to believe in it. But what I love what you just said, because faith without works is dead. You got to take some action. So we got to understand the principles here if we want to take it to the next level. And what I find is that often, William, the one thing that we don't do enough of is thinking. And I'm not talking about thinking about problems, thinking about opportunities. Like you said, shifting, because when you become thinking about problem, that causes stress, that causes anxiety, that causes all the things negative that go on. You think about opportunity, you get excited, your adrenaline starts to rush, you have a totally different creation. And the thing that I want to do is empower people. My goal this year, William, is to reach 50 million women. And I want to reach them to inspire them. I want to reach them to educate them. I want to reach them to empower them. But I want to not only do that through my words, I want to teach them exactly what you're talking about, the tangible skills that they need in order to take it to the next level. And you got to be willing to do the work. You just said it took you 5 to 7 years to do the work for you to arrive where you are. And so as these individuals are struggling, the thing that I find is, again, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier, we are creatures of habit, and we tend to continue to create the same thing over again, and then we don't understand in our mind's eye why this is happening, why this is happening, why can't I correct this? And so as a part of the first step, who helped you? Did you have mentors? Did you have people around you? What was that catalyst that helped propel you to the next level?
Yes, I would say definitely. I've been blessed to have great people in my life. So starting with my mom and dad, always being there to support and encourage me along the way. And as I've gotten older, I'm now married with 2 children, so my wife has definitely been a great support, as well as my little kitties, right?
Yeah.
But I would say one thing that I realized with the support that I had early on, because this process began when I was like 20, 21 years old. I realized that I was struggling mentally for a longer period of time because I was depending too much on others to help me with certain things that I could only help myself. Or, and another way to say it is, there was a journey that I realized I had to take that I could only go alone. It was only going to be me. And when I realized that that journey was only going to be able to be accomplished when I walked the road and had the courage to walk alone, then that really helped me. Now, that does not mean that people were not there to support me or anything like that. But what that means is this was an internal journey, once again, and only I could take it. And so that was really the big revelation, is that I was going to have to get over the fear of going at something that was challenging alone. Now, I played sports and I was always an athlete, and I would go out and work out on my own. But we have to face yourself. That's X number of years, however long you've been alive, and you've never been through this process before. You have to face that many years of, quote unquote, negative energy or demons, which I really just see, as, negative thinking patterns,
Yes.
but you have to face yourself. And in life, the biggest enemy that you'll ever face is the inner me, you, right?
Yes.
And so once I really understood that was the journey that I was going to have to take, I began to, of course, continue to get support from others, but take the responsibility that I had to do the work to get through to the other side and to be able to have a story to tell. And once again, I got really, really passionate about this because I was tired of being tired. I was tired of being broke. I'm like, I'm young, I'm in college, but I'm feeling like something's just not right here. Like if like people on the outside were telling me, hey, you're doing great, you really hung in there and stayed in school and so on and so forth through all these different circumstances. But at the end of the day, I did not feel that way. And I so many times did not give myself the opportunity to celebrate my small wins. And that was one of those one-on-one journeys within that I had to learn to actually celebrate my small wins, because I felt like I got behind on the schedule that I put, that when the clock started when I went to college my freshman year, it was like this subconscious clock. And then I was constantly behind on this clock. So even when I made great strides, I still felt like I was behind. And so once again, that was a part of this individual journey, as I've already mentioned, self-love, and really trusting myself and believing in myself. That was the biggest first, or that was the big second step to really be able to take a deep breath,
Yeah.
right? Like it felt like I was holding my breath for years because I was behind on
Yes.
my goals and on my dreams. And when I began to be kinder to myself, to really practice self-love, and it was difficult because once again, it was an athletic background and all about results, results, results. I got to many sales roles, and so that wasn't helping either because it was taught, you have to have tangible results in order to say that there's a job well done. But what about the fact that you just had a really bad week internally and no one knew about it, and you simply didn't quit? You got all of your schoolwork done for school. You went over and spent some time with your family, and no one knew that you were struggling, but you weren't going to keep your head down. You knew that you were going through this journey, and part of that journey was keeping moving your feet, even when you didn't feel like it. And so, even with small stuff like that, I had to actually give myself the opportunity to say, today was a great day. Like, no, I haven't made $100,000 yet, but today was a great day. And that was a journey. That was a part of the journey as well. So, yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah.
No, that's a testimony to so many of our millennials and Gen Zs that are out there, to just really encourage them to keep going. And I think you're absolutely right. Like I'm listening to you, and I know that I too have been guilty of that. You have this clock that you put on your own shoulder, this pressure that you put on your own self. And also, I would probably say, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, is that we have a tendency to compare ourselves to others. So
Oh, yeah.
when we're looking at all the world and what they're doing, well, I need to be here by now. Oh my God, look what they're doing. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so you always feel this sense of that you're not good enough, or you're not rallying up to the cry. And even though you're working hard and doing all the work and dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And part of that is when I'm hearing you right now, for me, what I'm taking in is a part of that self-sabotage. You're sabotaging yourself because the work and the journey is in you and not in others. Every time we're looking for something that's outside of us, right? We're looking for the likes. We're looking for the pats on the back. We're looking for, how many people subscribe to my YouTube? Can you subscribe to how many people are following me? How many people are, well, she has 100,000. Well, I should have 200,000, So breaking those cycles from your conversation today says to me is it starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with you. So people, are you listening? Are you listening? Go ahead, talk to us and we will talk back. If you have questions of William, please feel free to chime in. If you have something you'd like to share, please chime in. We'd love to hear. But William, with that said, how did you break that habit? Because that sounds very easy. It sounds easy to the ear. But I personally know through my own journey that anytime you dedicate yourself to something, it's not an easy task.
Yeah.
It's not an easy task. Any comments you make?
Yep. So, I would say that, once I made my mind up that I wanted to make change in my life, and I wanted to get more clear what my goals are, all hell broke loose. Now, I don't mean hell from the traditional perspective of it. I mean internally. Every self-defeating thought, behavior, habit that some of which I didn't even know I had or even remembered. I mean, everything came out. But and initially I felt like I was being attacked. But you know what? I wasn't. It was actually just the beginning process of purging out all the negative and self-sabotage that had gotten within me over the years. Even as someone who perceived themselves to be confident, when the rubber met the road, I didn't know who I was. Right. And because I didn't know who I was, and what I mean by that is I didn't understand and know the formless I am within me. I knew myself as an athlete. I knew myself as a good student. I knew myself as someone who had, at the time when this process started, had a brand new car off the lot, and I had my little off-campus apartment, and I thought I was everything. But that was my identity, what I had, and how other people perceived me. But as all those things began to go away, credit got messed up, and all these different kind of things, I realized that those things were never me, and it also had kind of stifled my growth internally because I was living a program that said you meet up to the external expectations, so you are good to go, you are worthy. But then life got challenging, and I realized that I was worthy no matter what. And I would say one way that I was able to identify that as a young 20 something at the time is that I was able to be at home on a Friday night and not feel the urge to run out to the bar, the club with friends or whatever else and go out and spend money that I didn't have, many times with people that didn't really care a whole lot about me. They were just people that I hung out with because my close friends were only a few anyway, and they still are.
Yeah.
And I was, and what happened was I became conscious of, hey, this is dumb. Why are you doing this? But there was a hole in my soul or spirit because I was still trying to get my identity, and I kept on doing those things for a while. And then there was one day you said, you know what? My goal is to stay home all weekend. I'm just going to be lame and stay at home. Right. But while I was at home, I began to crack open some books that I hadn't finished reading. I began to get back into the word and begin to really just create some new habits and behaviors. And what I was doing was basically reprogramming my subconscious mind slowly but surely through small actions. But I had to also filter every action that I did through a filter of worthiness. I was saying that I'm doing these things because I love myself, and I know that there's more within me. I don't have all the answers, but I know that there's more within me, and that was the very beginning step of the process. And I think for everybody it's going to be different, but you're going to have to face yourself now or later. And unfortunately, there are many people who will go curse out their own cousin, mom, brother, husband, wife, all that kind of stuff, and get everyone else straight, but you will refuse or you're completely petrified of facing yourself.
Wow.
And the real win, the biggest win you can ever have is the win against you. And it's not about defeating yourself. It is about transcending this world mind that says that we have to be this, this, and that to be good enough to meet the expectations. That you have to be accepted by other people, and other people's opinion is what you should be going on. When anyone who's ever been successful at anything long term, they believed in themselves. They trusted their own internal guidance system, which was the small still voice within, and they were willing to stand alone even when it was tough because they believed in a vision. And you cannot do that, and you will never. You will live and die and never do that until you face yourself. I just decided to face myself at a young age because I was fed up by about 23 or 24. Like, yeah, this sucks. Being broke, feeling depressed. Yeah, this is already bad. I know exactly what that feels like, and that's just not for me. So that's a long-winded answer, but I try to get context.
Perfect answer.
Yeah.
It's a perfect dialogue to be having, especially in the world that we're living in today. We're coming out of the pandemic, and some of us are going to come out. Some people made a lot of money in this pandemic, and others lost everything they had in this pandemic. And for those who prospered, I say congratulations to you. For those who did not, I say your best day is yet to come. And I say to you that this is an opportunity for you. And when we don't look at it, William started off early saying we can look at it as a problem or as an opportunity. We try so hard to hold on to things, and especially material things. I had a guest on last week, and Her name is Dr. Marie Della Para, and she was talking about your net worth is not the same as your self-worth. And the reason that most multimillionaires can lose everything and start all over and make the millions again is because they haven't lost their self-worth. And that's everything that you're talking about. Really, really, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Really, going back into your inner self and asking yourself, what is it that you want? And you got to go internal, not asking. We always sometimes want to ask outside of ourselves, trying to look for the answers, and the answers are within you. The Bible also speaks, and I speak of this, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. But I don't know that we necessarily get the concept of that. We hear it, but we don't get it. And one of the things that you're saying right now, William, which is so powerful, matter of fact, I just got chill bumps right now, is really understanding that we have to start with self. And you have to ask yourself, if you don't have what you want, then what are you willing to change within yourself to get it? What are you willing to change? And would that be an assessment that you would say the same thing, William?
Yes.
You and I speak the same language here.
No, I mean, 100%. The analogy that I give to kind of reaffirm what you're saying is that imagine yourself being on one side of a bridge, and this is like a wooden bridge with the ropes and everything, kind of the old school from the movies. And you walk across that bridge, and we get to the other side of the bridge. You turn around and look back where you came from, and you light the rope on fire and watch it burn, and there's no way that you're going to be able to get back. In life, the one thing that everyone must do at a certain point, and this will come in different forms and actions, but you're going to have to burn the bridge behind you and say, I'm never going back. Now, that does not mean that you will be perfect, that you will never have any kind of relapse or anything like that. What it means is that you have to make a decision. In life, the universe, God responds when we make an affirmative decision, a yes or a no. So it talks about in the Bible, if anything, be hot or cold, don't be lukewarm, don't sit on the fence, be on one side or the other, because we must make a decision in life in order to be able to really release the power of God in our lives. And the one thing that I'll say about decisions is that I'm not saying that you have to make a decision on one day and say, I'm going to never eat sugar again. I'm going to know. What I'm saying is say, I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being frustrated. I'm tired of living under my potential. I'm tired of feeling worthless. I'm tired of being out in public and feeling like I have no clothes on because I just don't know who I am. I've been there before. I remember when I was literally in the grocery store with a pocket full of quarters, going through it in my own mind, at least. And it was so many quarters that they were just jingling loud, loud, loud. I was walking up and down the aisles. And I remember walking through the grocery store, and that happened many times because I had no cash left. And I literally felt naked. I would have nightmares about being naked in public places. But that was, I think, symbolically showing my higher self, God showing me that this was a transformation. I had to be stripped naked, mentally and emotionally, psychologically, and lose every single idea of who I thought I was, because they were not going to be able to be a big enough container for what God had for me. And once I began to accept that and stop feeling like, once again, that life was against me, and begin to build my self-worth on something that was solid, right? Like the fact that, I am, loved by God, that I am worthy of the best this life has to offer, that I can do anything that I put my mind to. Now keep in mind, I had been told these things many times, but when you get down on yourself and your head drops spiritually, then it's not that you forget the things you may have learned that were positive, but the decision that you have to make, do I believe it in my heart? It's one thing to have it in your head, but do you believe it in your heart? When you go to bed at night and no one's in the room, do you actually believe it? And when you can say yes to that, you believe it in your heart, when even when no one's around, that's when you actually believe it in your heart. And heart is is symbolic of the subconscious mind in the Bible, because what that really means is, have you put that new code into your subconscious mind? Not just can you speak it out, say, oh yes, I believe, but do you believe it in your heart? When your actions show that you believe these things, that's when it's really in your heart. And those things are they take time, but it's also a key indicator that you're on the right track, because your actions will always show what you really believe. What comes out of your mouth always shows and proves what you really believe. Just to give you all some examples of what this looks like, and maybe certain kind of pivotal moments. Hopefully these examples are good, because I know everyone's going through something different. But I try to give several examples for a reason, because I don't know who's listening, and one thing may work for someone else and be like the light, and for others it may be something different. So that's why I'm long-winded, because I know I'm talking to a big audience.
You're not, you know what? You're not long-winded. This is good stuff. This is what the platform is about. No, do your thing, William Deck. No, share the love. The people need to hear the information. So did you have another example you wanted to use, or was that it?
No. I mean, those were the main ones. Yeah.
Look, I want to chime in with you, because one of the things we talked to about the other day, and you were talking about what you tell yourself. And I want to say that sometimes we beat ourselves up, it's one thing we say. One of the conversations that I was having, sometimes we say something, but we're really thinking differently. And that what we say and what we think have to align with themselves. So you can say what you want to me, but when you go home, what are you saying to yourself? What is the dialogue? And a lot of time, you spoke earlier about the conscious and the subconscious. And the subconscious mind remembers everything. So when you speak it, the subconscious mind remembers it. And if you're not careful about what you're thinking and making sure it aligns with what you speak, that's why you don't have consistency in your life. Would you agree with that? We talked about lying, like lies. Yeah. Like we're in a world right now where it seems to be more popular to lie about something than to tell the truth. But the thing to know about lying is that even if you lie to yourself, if you tell yourself that lie enough, then that will become your reality. And so I hope the message that everybody is hearing from you today is being cognitive. Not only you talk about burning that bridge, but when you burn it, being cognitive of why you did it, being cognitive of when you burned it, you made a decision and you made a choice and you spoke to the universe about what you're going to do. And now your discipline is everything, because your word becomes your bond. When your word and your actions align, there isn't any obstacle or goal that you can't achieve. You can achieve your dreams and desires. So this is very powerful. This is very, very powerful. Yeah. I'd like to just expand on that, William. I'm going to just expand for a minute and say, can you share with the audience a particular time when you were at your lowest point? I mean, you've named several already and you kind of shared that, but what you did to actually make that transformation, to make that mental transformation. You've already shared nuggets. I'm really asking the same question, just kind of dressed a little differently, and hope to touch somebody else who might not have gotten it from the other that you've used.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, there are many examples, but one example that I can say that I was at my lowest, when I realized that there was a time in my life that through food, I was not showing myself love. I was eating pretty much whatever, and once again, I grew up as an athlete, so I was like on meal plans, and the whole house, like my little siblings were on meal plans because they wanted to do what I did, and I just completely let myself go. And that was one part of it. But I think beyond that, one thing that I began to also realize is that I was not in control of my emotions properly. Now, whenever when I did anything absolutely crazy, that wasn't part of my personality, but it was out of character. And I would say the specific incident, and if my younger brother's watching this, he's going to be laughing, but my youngest brother and my oldest nephew, one day we were driving, I was taking them somewhere, and they were probably like, I don't know, 10 and 7 at the time. And they were and I was driving them, so they were in the back seat, and they were screaming and yelling and laughing, taking the seatbelts off. And long story short, I asked them a few times to quiet down, and they didn't. And so I literally pulled the car over, and I said, "Look, y'all got to get out. I said, y'all got to get out of here." Now I came right back around the corner and picked them up. But the reason why I share that is because in reflection, I was like, what am I doing? Like it wasn't like on the middle on like a highway. It was like a neighborhood area, but I was like, that is out of character for me. Like that's something that William would not do. So if that is happening, and honestly, like after it happened, like later that day, I broke down and cried. I just realized that I was broken. And so it was a combination of the poor eating, it was a combination of poor thinking, and then it manifested. And this is my family, and even though it was something that was not the end of the world for me, it was like, okay, yeah, I got to really get this right. Because I just realized that I was not at peace, and I knew that in small ways. But then I'm also, in my family, we're very big on family, protecting, loving one another. So a small act like that, and I'm the oldest, male, so I'm like the oldest uncle, and it was like, no, like that, this is not me. And so that was, I think, where I hit rock bottom. And I think along the way, I was able, and I actually use this in my business now, but I realized that there was three, and I learned over many years that there are three attributes that we can quantify with our mind. So that is our thoughts, our feelings, our emotional nature, and our imagination. And what I realized is one night I was reading the Bible. It was John chapter 1. It was the very first sentence, and it said, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And when I read that, I was like, okay, something like, God's speaking to me here. And I realized that it was a connection to thoughts, because before something come out of your mouth, you have to think about it, right? And it was like, okay, so the word is creative principle, thoughts are creative. And as I continue to do research on that specifically, I realized that there was a full formula for the creative principle, at least from a mental perspective. And so our thoughts are foundational. Everything starts from a thought. Every idea starts with a thought. So we've seen many different manifestations of cars and clothing and all the different kind of things. It started with one person having a thought about it, and then they had to get an emotional connection. So step two is having that emotional connection to that idea, to that thought. And then from there, being able to also have a mental picture or a mental roadmap that connects those thoughts and those feelings. And we use this mechanism, this creative principle in those three steps every single day, but usually it's something negative. So for example, you're about to head to work, and you wake up first thing in the morning, and the first thought to head is, oh God, I don't want to go to work today. I don't feel like turning on this camera or walking in there today. And then after that, you also have a few more thoughts. Maybe one of those thoughts is someone at work you don't like. So then there's some emotion behind that. You know what? I'm not trying to talk to so and so today. If they have anything to say to me, then it's not going to be good for them or me. And you also take some time to imagine that, right? So you can play out in your mind the entire scene of what you're going to say if they say anything to you, right? And then you get to work, and what happens 95% of the time? That person says something to you, and everything that you imagine plays out. But also think about, especially since I know you're in Cali, think about Kobe Bean, think about MJ. They talk very openly about the fact that before games, especially big games, they would go out and practice the game-winning shot. They knew where they were going to be on the court. They could see it in their mind's eye. They thought about that. They had been in practice. They had studied film. They also had an emotional connection to the idea of winning another championship, put up another banner, because they talked about that openly all the time. And they were emotionally connected to being a champion. And ultimately, their thoughts, their emotions focus in on what they really wanted, and also having a mental picture, talking about it openly, especially after the game. Like, yeah, I knew XYZ as soon as, Paxton, went away with his man. I knew where he was going to leave his defensive position. And I went right there and pulled up, and it went in, right? So this happens every single day on large or small levels. It's just, are we aware of it? Are we aware of our thoughts? Are we aware of our emotions? And especially because the easiest emotion to have is a negative emotion, because that's the world mind. To be disciplined in our, not just our thinking, but how we allow our emotions to be pulled from left to right. Can we be centered emotionally no matter what's going on, and not respond to other people, as opposed to being under cause and effects? So when someone does something and the effect is I respond, we can actually cause an effect by saying, I will do this, I won't do this, and I will do that, and make a decision and be at peace with it, and have an emotional connection to being centered and being calm. And once again, being able to see that in your mind's eye. So starting off, when that happened with, with me for about 15 seconds to tell my youngest brother and my nephew to get out the car and to come right back to pick them up. That was the low point. But I realized there was a thought, feeling, and imagination looking back, because I already had in my head, if they don't shut the heck up, I'm about to pull this car over. And once again, as opposed to having these be negative outcomes and negative actions and negative behaviors that become patterns, right? Why not say, I can pre-plan in my own mind and have an interview tomorrow? I'm going to, so I've been thinking about this all day, and I'm thinking really positive thoughts. I got this. I can feel myself with the job and getting the call or the email. I can see myself going in there and being impressed. And I can also see when I leave this interview that they're going to be saying, this is the man, this is the woman. We have to hire him or her. This is it. And I see that in my mind the night before. And then when I go into there for that interview, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of exactly what I saw in my mind's eye. It happens. Now, does this happen every single time? Of course not. But you will see that more times than not, when you get a disciplined mind.
You just went mute. You just went mute. Did you go mute? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Oh my God, that is so powerful. And I can imagine how your family felt about you putting your brother out. William's family is amazing. William, you're coming to us from where?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What's the weather like in Milwaukee today?
It was actually 88 degrees today, so that was great here, because we don't get much of that, but it was beautiful today. Not a cloud in the sky.
So if William's name looks familiar to you, it's because I interviewed just recently his baby sister, Cynthia Deck. And I have to tell you, their family is amazing. His mother, I just love her and adore her. And William, how was it being the oldest and now having your baby sister who just signed a multi-million-dollar contract to pay for the WNFL? Doesn't your baby brother play too? Does he play professional ball as well?
So he actually played college football. He got a full scholarship to Lehigh University.
Okay.
My youngest brother, Miko, who I put out the car about 15 years ago. He's not a big football player.
Yes. Oh yeah. My God. And your baby sister, how do you feel about Miss Cynthia? And aren't you throwing her twins?
So actually, Cynthia has a twin, which is our middle brother, which is Santi. So Santi and Cynthia. But with her, and really all of my siblings and family, just so proud of her for being committed to her vision and being willing to make sacrifices in order to get there. And ultimately, once again, it's really what I teach and preach. It's all about, it's very important rather, to believe in yourself, because when you believe in yourself, you infuse that belief in other people. Right. And so along the way, she had to have many, and of course, I know my mom was there many times, but she had to talk with many agents and companies that want to do contracts for this, that, and the other. And by having a good self-image, it's not just about saying, well, I know that I'm worthy, because that's very important, but it's also important to be able to have the courage to go out there and get what you want and not compromise on that vision. And she's done that. So I'm very, very proud of her. She's doing amazing things, and she will continue to do amazing things. And I expect nothing less, because I know that she can do anything. So I trust her, and she's going to continue to shine. Yes.
Well, you have set a great example for them, William. And even in the work that you're doing now and creating this business, MindBusiness, can you tell me what was the tipping point for you to start this work? What was that tipping point for you?
So the tipping point was, honestly, I've been doing this work in different ways, in different industries, and at different levels for about 5 years. So when I first moved to Milwaukee, I was in healthcare. I was a healthcare consultant, and I was working with hospital administrators and doctors, working on patient experience improvement. And what I realized very quickly was, even though we had all this data to review and things like that, what the work really was about is helping to influence others to be able to change their behaviors, which at the core of it was changing the way that they saw themselves and the work that they did, right? And so that was the first step. And then from there, I was in workforce development for another 2 years. So I was in healthcare for about 2.5 years. Then I went to workforce development, and I worked for a workforce development firm here in Milwaukee that focuses on getting minorities and women place in the tech field. And so it was a 4-month boot camp of 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and we're teaching them technology, which is specifically coding, business, and leadership skills. So technology, business, leadership skills. I was the program manager, and with our first cycle that came through in 2018, after about 2 days, I realized, we have a lot to teach them about the technical components of this stuff, professional dress, coding, all that. But what they really need, based on hearing their conversations about themselves and other people, they need an adjustment on the way in which they see themselves. Because I've been on my journey long enough to know if you don't see yourself worthy, or if the vision of yourself is not large enough to include that growth, that better job, that better relationship, right? Then you're going to self-sabotage 100% of the time. And it's not because you want to, but your programming has not gotten to the level that it can handle that level of success or blessing or opportunity. And that's not a bad thing. It is universal law. And when you don't understand that, once again, you tend to suffer over and over again. And so I had that experience. And then in my most recent role, before I started my business, I was working in sales, but I was helping to build young teams. So the company that I work for, they were acquiring companies, many of which had young founders. And so I was kind of coming in and coaching and mentoring them. And they were smart as a whip. They knew things technically, all that stuff. But once again, it was about being able to see themselves in a different way, because now you've been acquired. Now you need to really begin to kind of build yourself up and have confidence to go out and speak what you know, and understand what you do know, what you don't know, know when to ask questions, all the different kind of things. And they were many times they're right out of college. So I was doing all this work, and I was like, you know what? I feel like there's a common thread, and that's really helping to guide people mentally, And so during the pandemic, the first month of the pandemic in April of last year, 2020, I sat down at dinner with my wife one night, and I was like, God's really speaking to me, and I would want to sit down with you and kind of flesh this out. And so we sat down, opened up PowerPoint, and typed out about 5 or 6 slides that night about kind of the foundation and the ideas of what we would be doing and what would become Mind Business. And it was all about mindset transformation. So the focus of my work is helping organizations as well as individuals to achieve a mindset transformation. For every individual, for every organization, that's different, because from the organizational perspective, mindset transformation is really a culture change. For an individual, that means changing your internal belief system to align with where you want to go. And so I take the individual type approach with groups when I work with businesses, because I do small group trainings and education. I also do talkback sessions as well as one-on-one coaching with the executives and or any high potential individual within a company, based on talking with the senior leadership and, what's the best opportunity set. But it's really, once again, it's centered around retraining the subconscious mind. How can I help people see for themselves that they are worthy? How can I help people to see for themselves that when you need to make a change of culture within the organization, it's really about you having an expanded view of yourself and the world around you. It's not about saying, hey, we need to work better as Black and white people. It's really about saying the perspective that you may have is limited. And I have to tell them that, but it's by giving example, by teaching them, it's really about expanding the vision of themselves, right? Because anytime I work with anybody who has any kind of issues about beliefs, it's because they have a limited belief about themselves. And then that is spread out to the entire world, because whatever your internal state is, you will express that in circumstances, situations, and the words that come out of your mouth and your behaviors to everyone, and everyone will know what you really believe. And so that is the kind of work that I do, and it's a lot of fun, but it's also work. And I always make sure that when I take on a client, they understand, like, look, like, this is going to be totally different. I'm not coming in to do diversity, equity, and inclusion training and tell adults how they should work better together because they have different backgrounds and teach African American history. No, I'm not doing that. No, we're going to go to the foundation, the core, and it is your own mind, what you believe to be true about yourself and the world around you. And as that expands, many of these challenges fix themselves, because an organization is just an amalgamation of a bunch of individuals. And so the individual work that is accomplished through a lot of these exercises and workshops and trainings gets people thinking. It gets them outside their comfort zone, and you begin to see a different light in people's eyes because they're beginning to wake up. Not to what I want them to know, what the company wants them to know. No, they're beginning to wake up within themselves. So the man know thyself concept, that universal principle begins to come alive within them. And then before you know it, organizations changing, the individuals changing. And it's beautiful because all of us want to be set free, right?
Yeah.
We all want to have peace in our heart. We all want to have a good self-image, but once again, as we talk about so much, you just don't know where to start. In my over a decade of experience with work externally for companies as well as internally has been put into this package and this curriculum and education that I do now. And I meet everyone where they are. And so I can customize any workshop for any company, and make sure that it fits best for them, to speak to them and to get the conversation going. Because once people begin to open up, beautiful things happen.
Wow, William, you are absolutely amazing. And the truth that you speak, especially as it refers to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, makes so much sense. The reason it hasn't worked for all these years is because we keep continuing to do the same thing,
Yeah.
expect different results, and then we put all these things in place. And the pendulum never moves, because if the individual hasn't moved, then how can the pendulum move? So it makes perfect sense to me. Any corporations that are out there listening, I think you need to call William Deck. I think you need to get a hold of them. William, how best is it for people to contact you? Where should they go?
Yes. So first and foremost, you can always send me an email, and my email is wdeck. So that's D as in David, ECK. So WDECK at MIN as in Nancy D business LLC.com. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. All you need to do is type in William Deck, because as far as I know and I've seen, I'm the only African American William Deck on LinkedIn. I haven't seen any others pop up. But on LinkedIn, now that you can actually do the at symbols, you can actually do at William B as in boy Deck. So William B Deck on LinkedIn. And on Instagram, you can also reach out to me, and that's William.B as in boy again .deck. So Instagram, LinkedIn, or direct email is always great for me. And I look forward to having conversation with organizations. I'm already working with a few multinational organizations. I've worked with a university. I've worked at the government level already, as well as small mom and pop shops of 5 employees. And so because these are universal principles that go deep into our subconscious to really help to change behaviors at the root cause and at the beginning of that effect, right? I really haven't had any limitation. And because we're also doing it online, I think right now Zoom, you can have up to 200 people at a time on a call. So I can take 200 at a time.
There you go. I love it. So how can I support you, William? How can I uplift you? How can I get the word out and let people know about the amazing, amazing work that you're doing?
Yeah, once again, that's a great question. I think first and foremost, tonight was a great opportunity to really be able to get that ball rolling with your team and your audience. And so I think just honestly, because everyone's on social media all the time, just having other opportunities to collaborate and have different conversations about important topics, even if it's a topic specifically that you are really passionate about. If I could ever be of support to come on and have that conversation, I think the best growth is organic growth. And I would also say, as far as an actual product that I do have an online course. It's available on udemy.com. And the name of my online course is Mental Foundations with an S, Mental Foundations for Success. And so I do have 3 hours of content that goes over some of the core mindset principles that I've talked about today. Of course, in much more detail on udemy.com. You can also purchase that on my website at www.mindbusinessllc.com. And so for those who may not work for a particular organization that I'm working with, or you may not necessarily think that one-on-one coaching is the best fit for you, you can always go online and support me with in purchasing Mental Foundation for Success on udemy.com as well.
There you go. Oh my God, William, this has just been absolutely amazing. One of the things I love about what I do is I get to meet some of the most amazing people, have the most amazing conversations, and I grow. Every time I grow, this is a digital platform to help educate those that are out there. I told you this year, my goal is to reach 50 million women, and I already got it in my mind.
That's right.
It's already in my mind. I've been dreaming about it. I can feel it in my spirit. It's going to happen. And when I get the opportunity to actually have conversations with individuals like yourself, it just empowers me even more to want to go out there and make this thing happen. As a matter of fact, we are currently in the middle of a challenge. And I just want to say to everybody out there, hang tight. My goal was to release the challenge on June 15th, but my team pulled me back because they have some specific things that they are rolling out. But when we do, I guarantee tell you, it's going to be life transforming. And I need to talk to you, William, because I think there's some things that we could tap in together to truly make it the most amazing challenge ever. We already got great things going. So I'll definitely tap into you and talk about some of those things and see if there's some collaboration opportunities. And I'm a proponent of collaboration. I created this mindset when I was in my grad school, and it's P4 matrix. It's very simple concept, but it's the most powerful thing when applied. And it starts with communication. When we communicate, we can connect. When we connect, we can collaborate. And when we can collaborate, we build community. And when we build community, we can change the world, period. We can change the world. There's power in community. Don't you ever forget that. And the more we come together as one and support each other, support William, support Cheryl Grant, support the other businesses that are out there, we will all thrive. This is not a world that a lot of people would have you to believe that there's only enough for a select few. That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard of. We live in a world of abundance. There's more than enough for all of us. And when we come together, we can create the impossible. So I really want to encourage everybody, please do support William. Go to www.mindbusiness.com. And is that the correct email URL?
MindBusinessLLC.com.
Okay, let me correct that, you guys, because
no problem.
Right. We want to get this right. I want to make sure that we are connecting with William. In addition to that, I wanted to let everybody know, and look at this, I can type and talk at the same time. That's pretty. I don't say so myself. But anyway, I want to say to everybody, so the challenge is coming out. We have some great things in store for you. Hold tight. Hold tight. I also want to take time out to say thanks to my team, William, because I can't do this alone. The work that I do and everything you see here, I have an amazing team behind me, and I'm so grateful for them. I'm working with consultants like Cindy Hill. Thank you, thank you, thank you, at Grace Marketing. She is amazing, and she is doing some phenomenal things. I also have my immediate team that I work with, and that is my sons, Dejan and Jonte Grant. I could not do it without them. They are the brand behind Cheryl Grant. They are the magic to my sauce. Trust me and believe me. I have to thank my team. I have, oh my God, these amazing, powerful women that are on my team that are out in the world doing great things. And they start with Ebony. I want to thank Ebony. I want to thank Zai. I want to thank, oh my God, I can't remember. You know, when you need to think of everybody, your mind starts going. I want to thank Jasmine. I want to thank Brittany. I want to thank, and who am I missing? If I'm missing somebody, I'm so sorry. But I have a team of about 7 or 8. So I know I just named 4. So I 3 off, but that's okay, you guys. I'll make it up. I'll make it up. My mind just had a memory loss. Don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to my head, okay? Charge it to my head. But with that said, I am just so grateful to have them. I want to say to everybody out there, this work that I'm doing, if you feel compelled in your heart, and only if you feel compelled enough to support me. If you love the work that I'm doing, support me. And how do you support me? You can do it in many different ways. You can donate. No donation is too small. You can go to www.cherylgrant.com, Cheryl with an S. You can also support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. That costs you nothing. You can follow me. You can like me on my Facebook. Any of those channels will work. And just know that I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And for you, Mr. William Deck, as we close out this hour, I want to ask you a question. If you could leave one piece of advice for this audience, what would that advice be?
That advice would be the most important journey that you can ever take is the journey within. When you realize that every answer that you have ever needed or will ever need is within you, and you don't have to go anywhere on the outside to find it, you have really tapped into the key to a successful life. Because we have infinity living on the inside of us. When we look up in the night sky, science has already proven and shown it. All you have to go is YouTube or Google. The night sky looks like our cells under an electron microscope. So we are a microcosm of the macrocosm, which means we don't have to go anywhere. Everything we need is right within us. And we have to do that work and be willing to go within to be able to get the answers that we need so we can have peace and health and abundance and success in our lives. And once again, I know this is not going to be an easy journey, but it's well worth it. It took me a while, but when I got there, I could never go back. I could never turn off what I knew. And now it's allowing me to be able to have unlimited abundance and success in my life that just continues to build and grow and grow and grow. And I want to see that for everyone. And that's why this is really one of the core components of my platform and my conversations. If you follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, anything else, you will see I'm talking about this every single post because I want you all to get this. Because when you get this, you can have anything you want in this life.
Oh my God, you guys, that was some amazing advice. William, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank your mother. I got to call her and tell her how much I love her. But thank you. You both. Thank your family. Thank Cynthia. I can't wait to meet your other two brothers who I haven't. But are they in Atlanta too with your everybody else? No?
They are.
They are. So I can't wait because I'm going there soon. I'm going to be speaking there over the summer. So I can't wait to go in and talk with them. In the meantime, I just want to say to you, I wish you much continued success and please continue the journey. It's much needed and necessary. So thank you, William. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you. God bless. Have a great rest of the evening.
All right. See you later. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.